All right, good morning, welcome. I'd like to do this presentation, as you can see, on APRS. And APRS is not exactly what you mean. APRS is, information sharing system using a standard protocol over amateur radio. It was developed by Bob Brunga around 1992 and supported by major radio manufacturers. Can be used for standard operation and useful integration between RF and the internet. It is not about maps. Mission statement, all of you can read that. And it was not originally meant for vehicle tracking, even though it can be done. Capture and display systems of single continental wide data channel for keeping the individual operator informed of everything going on around his community. Generally intended for a 10-minute update. In other words, beaconing. What can you learn? Well, frequency tone offset is normally recommended. However, it is on a standard frequency for the US of 144.39. And that's USA wide. And it is a simplex operation. You can use it for club meeting information, special event announcements, and so on. Location of events, speed of traffic, and so on. Use it also in conjunction with AMSET and schedule in view within 90 minutes, local weather. And APRS for local weather is quite active in our area. What can you do? Send and receive APRS messages. Global email. Now, how does that work? If, for instance, Joe has an APRS and he goes on vacation, he's down in Florida, and when you guys see that his house is on fire, you can send him an APRS message through W0 UPS-10. It gets into our local RF area and the internet. It shoots out to the internet and it finds Joe when he last beaconed down in Florida. So then all of a sudden he gets a message on his APRS screen saying he's got a message. So he looks at it, house is on fire. Something like that.
Yeah, I'd really rather you guys call the fire department.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me.
So you might as well just stay on the beach.
Well, it sounded good. By the way, I have most of these websites on a handout sheet. Those of you who want a copy, just pick it up. It's freebies and all this good stuff. Free to use. You can see RF stations, but can't send or receive messages. Oh, my goodness, open APRS. APRS FI, that is a local area, can be a local area, but it is not compatible with APRS Droid or some of the others. Additional websites. Taper is kind of an interesting, because they started what looks like on your APRS screen, if you have it, is MICE, M-I-C-E. Actually, it's mic encoding. They use the mic connection for encoding APRS information to send out. They started that, so it's still in use, and you'll see it identified as a MICE. Getting started, APRS software. Clients and more clients and so on. Android started this one. Packet, Windows APRS, ISCE, and so on. There's a whole host of them. One of the newest ones is YAC, YAAC. This is online, more or less, with UI. And it's just an expansion on the UI method. That guy passed away, and he said, before he passed away, nobody can make any changes to it, so UI interface has more or less died, but it's taken over by YAC. So that's another one. Yeah.
It's just cross-platform. Will that handle Apple, Android?
I'm not sure about Apple. I know it does with Droid.
Well, it's cross-platform.
I think it is. Getting started, APRS capable hardware. Bionics uses different baud rates and so on. KISS mode, keep it simple, and so on. There are Tiny Track 4. There's a whole host of individual equipment that can get you on the air with APRS. Open data, free firmware, kits, USB, and assembled, and so on. Now, this folks right there can get you the kits if you want to do it yourself. If not, there's more trackers here. Bluetooth, TNC, standalone with GPS. The interesting thing with APRS Mobile, you do need a GPS so that the system knows where you are. Straight TNCs, yes, right. Say again?
I said that the other day.
That goes along with frustration factor when you want to make the equipment fly. Hand operated. Bluetooth TNCs, they're available. This guy right here can help you locate Bluetooth TNCs. Uses the APRS Droid and Bluetooth dongles and so on and so forth. APRS radios. Here's where we start getting into some interesting things. The D710, original D710A with the AV6, that has since graduated to the Green Labs, and none of those guys are available anymore. However, the D710A is still available, and there are GPS modules you can get as a plug-in and play with the APRS built into the D710A, and it works just fine. Works great. I had one.
I have one still. It's in my truck.
Good. The Lenko. Oh, the D710-2, I'm sorry, is one of the original HTs that has the data port built into the radio, which allows you to use the radio in APRS mode and voice at the same time. And the data port comes off the radio before the demodulators and whatnot. So in audio terms, it's the same thing as line level. It's data level, so you don't have to worry about where the volume is set or anything else. Now there's a trick to all of that. With that one and the D710, you can set the squelch to DCS, digital coded squelch, so you'll never hear the packet racket, but it still works fine. Question?
That's the fun part. The register group all the driving me crazy all the time.
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard to talk over and you hear brrr, and you don't know where it's coming from. DCS works great for that. Just a tidbit. Lenko has good ones. The Yaesu has some good ones also. Now the newest version is the D74. I have one. You can look at it if you like. And the Kenwood D710GA, which has the built-in GPS and APRS. Say again?
I'd like to recommend also the FTM 100D. It's like $250, $300. It's got wires X, does digital. It's really good, and it's got AVRS. It's probably cheaper than the books there. I've got well, that and a 400, and actually 100 better.
I've seen a lot of those on ID, APRS ID on the screen. Yaesu has a good line of them. Kenwood has a good line of them. But the trick is getting a good radio that has a data port so you don't lose your mic connection for voice on the other side of the radio. APRS is 2 meters, and you can still use the 440 side for normal voice operation. So it works great that way.
On the 400 it does that.
Say again?
On the 400 I can talk 440 and he'll slowly beat me on the other side. It just waits till I'm done.
Yeah. So there's all the manufacturers are starting to come out with radios with the data port that you can hook into and use for APRS with an external client, or use it as a standalone if it has a GPS built in. Little packet primer, APRS uses the old AX25 format, but the AX25 format for packet was designed specifically for texting. APRS can handle not only some texting messages of smaller size, but graphics. The APRS handles graphics, which is very, very nice. And normally on 2 meters, you're limited 1200 baud transmitted, so that's how the limitation is. That's by FCC rules. There's HF, APRS, and PSK 63. Digipeating, a lot of the radios have a built-in digipeater, so it can repeat what it picks up. Since it's simplex, it's first in, first out. Whatever it picks up, it sends out also. Number of hops, wide and new parandogam, and tells you how far you can limit and receive packets, APRS packets, from other stations. So it can be very limited to your specific area. How far do you want to receive it? How far do you want to transmit it out? For instance, 2 hops, if I send a packet from here, a greetings to somebody, it can tell it only 2 hops. So it go to W0 UPS and then N0 AUX down by the springs, and then it will die out. It automatically decreases the number of hops it goes to, so it won't go anymore. However, if the transmitting station is high enough, it can get 2 hops from New Mexico to here. I was monitoring it one day and I saw an extremely odd call sign, and I had to take a look at it and investigate it. A 2x2 call beginning with an N. It filled in perfectly fine with the call sign structure, NM5SS. When I looked it up, New Mexico Space Studies, balloon launches from Albuquerque towards Santa Fe, and it was at 100,000 feet when I balloon burst. And I picked it up from the first hop down by Pueblo, and it hopped it up, and I got it here on ours. So it does work very nicely. Wide area, no internet access, or most Igates have home stations with poor RF footprints. Local area Igates can double the amount of traffic. Now, our digipeater on Horsetooth W0UPS-10 has an Igate on it, so whatever goes into it gets digipeated out, but it also gets into the internet. Now, here are a lot of symbols that are used for your various stations, and you can have a lot of fun picking one out for yours. I picked up a guy that used a running guy. I don't see it up here on this one, but he used the running symbol, and his call sign was WG0AT. He uses goats as pack animals up in the mountains. Now, SSID, Supplemental Station Identification. You notice here it's 1 through 7, and 7 is used for primarily HTs. 1 through 4, supplementals, 5, Dstar, and so on, special activities, and 8 through 15. I've got a handout here with all of them on there, so if you want to have a copy of all this, I've got a handout, you can just pick it up and go with it. The weather stations are 13, truckers are 14, and so on. There's several of them out there. If you have several HTs, for instance, or several base stations or a combination, you can have a 1 for an HT, a 7 for an HT, a 4 for a base station, a -9. As long as the dash number, the SSID is different, you're okay. That's fine. I don't think I need to go any further with this. APRS using internet connectivity to add to the fun, autoresponders, and so on. And the -10, W0UPS-10, has Igate on it, which is nice. Compared to the number of amateurs in the US, 40,000 to 50,000 is a small amount of APRS activity. Now, the interesting thing is some of the radios, and a lot of them, have a capability built into it. It will not transmit if it's receiving some sort of a packet. So it's trying to eliminate packet collisions, two of them transmitting at the same time. It does happen, but it's not all that often. What does it do when it collides? It tries again, up to 5 attempts before it times out. There's room for everyone. Got a radio, home station, data center, and all kinds of things here. Things to do. Satellite in-pass info, location lookups, call sign lookups, and that's built in some of the APRS clients. For instance, APRS IS-32 has a lookup capability. Alerts. This is the one I was talking about, high altitude balloons. You can track them, which is really interesting. Oh, and there is, in our area, there is balloon traffic occasionally. They use a different frequency, but they still use APRS frequencies to do it. So you can, if you have an APRS client, you can monitor that also. The IS has it. Digipeater and downlink on 145.825. And here are a few of the websites for it. And this set of websites is also on this handout. Packet details, to and from, info fields, and so on. One other thing that APRS can do, especially for mobiles, if you're at home with a client, you can tell how fast somebody is going. It will show you how fast the vehicle is going that you're looking at. These are just sample APRS packets. Anybody have any questions? Now, I'm not an expert on this by any means, but this is a sample. I mean, this was developed for general purpose presentation, so if anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer. Say again?
How do you email through there for mobile or something?
You can if, with your APRS client, you can actually text to a specific station, and if it's in your immediate area, it will show a message to him.
On the radio it has some messages.
Yes,
Put in there and you
on
just
your
push it.
radio, you will have an indication if you have a message or they have a message.
I mean, it has built-in messages too. If you want to just say I'm doing this,
Yes.
it doesn't matter if you're mobile or if you're just standby or if you're...
It depends on his SSID. It goes to that particular that station with the
I have it,
SSID.
but I just never really... I just use it basically for beacon when we're doing events.
That's how that works. Okay, by the SSID. Thank you guys, appreciate it.
This presentation was brought to you by the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club. For more information, visit our website, ncarc.net. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.